Luckily, Greg's not mic'd up, otherwise you would have heard his beautiful voice. What's up, guys? So right now we're gonna go ahead and try to wrap up the last bit of our major framing, and that is this large ceiling up here. Now this ceiling, some of the comments I had seen about our trusses was, are the trusses engineered and rated for all of that load we're putting up there on that bottom cord? We've got all that framing, we're gonna have drywall, and yes, they were engineered for this specifically. That is why when you look up there, that bottom cord is a 2x12. Our top cord is a 2x12, even though it doesn't look like it because of all that insulation up in the ceiling. This area, this great room that I'm standing in is going to be, or at least right now, the plan is that we're gonna sheathe that ceiling with probably an OSB, and then we are going to be installing a wood ceiling. So we're gonna do like a tongue and groove or just a flat 1x6 or something, most likely cedar, not 100% sure yet, but the goal is to have a kind of a unique ceiling look here, and then it's gonna tie into the gabled out scissor truss that's gonna be on the porch on the front of the building. So that is gonna be awesome, and by the time you guys see this, I bet we will have that porch built. So if you guys aren't following me over on Instagram or on TikTok, Facebook, I do post a lot more up-to-date content there because it takes a long time to edit for the long-form YouTube content. So you can always go get a sneak peek there and then come back here and watch the how-tos, because I'm not going to usually do that on those short-form content. But for now, Greg and I are going to try to get this ceiling whipped out because our HVAC contractor, you can see the ductwork ran up here. He needs our framing in so that he can run the ceiling ducts that are gonna drop down into this great room. So Greg and I are gonna go ahead and get into it, but it's not the most enjoyable content probably to watch, so we'll just go ahead and throw a nice little time lapse over this. Joists up here, I like to go ahead and get them all installed and kind of nailed together and everything before I come back through and nail my final joist hanger nails. And what we're using right now on the angle, these are 2.5. So there you go. These are 2.5 10-pennies Paslode Tico nails. So these are specific for joist hangers. You don't just want to use any nail. You got to use the right nails. Now the nice thing about the Metabo is that there is no hose. That's nice, especially when you're doing this sort of thing and you're climbing around up in the... Well, I'm not climbing around, I am in my scissor lift, however. It would be kind of miserable having a hose, you know, running around. So that's nice that this is just a battery powered. However, it is kind of heavy. So that's kind of the trade-off. Yikes. Weight for luxury, I guess. So here you can see we've got the ceiling joist all done but the peak. And those have to be kind of made up special. You can kind of see right over there, Greg's making up some. And they're more like a T-nailer, and it's to add a little bit of extra rigidity and strength there at the peak. Probably going to be a ceiling fan, a big ceiling fan hung up here, and we just want that peak to be nice and strong, nice and straight, and to maintain that obviously through the life. So we're just adding some extra framing in there. Oh, it feels good to get that ceiling done. Not like the most, you know, I guess educational content. I mean, it's the same as the ceiling that we did over here. The only difference was that it was super awkward and uncomfortable being in that little scissor lift. Way better than using a ladder or using scaffold, but not as nice as like working outside in one of our rough terrain scissor lifts like the Mega Deck, where you have all sorts of room for tools, materials, and multiple people so that you can actually, you know, not have to do it all yourself. Greg obviously was an awesome cut man, and then you know, I got all this over here installed, and up above me here in the mezzanine, Greg worked on that while I was going back and forth in the scissor lift, up and down, you know, a couple boards at a time. But now that is ready for sheathing. We'll wait for the mechanical guys, the electricians, to do all their rough-ins up in that ceiling first, because this is not like a post frame where there's going to be surface mount conduit everywhere. This will all be obviously recessed. We are in a home, but that wraps up that. All right, so we've got a little bit of crappy weather outside. We've got a nice little warm up, which is better than cold weather that we've had. However, it's muddy, it's windy, and they're calling rain and then snow and ice this afternoon. So we're gonna go ahead and work on the inside with another little detail that we need to take care of. So behind me, this is the partition wall that separates the house from the garage. You'll notice this pink stuff. It's actually kind of like a very light creamy color. Fiberglass insulation. Now, a lot of people were in the comments saying, why didn't you just spray foam this whole partition wall so that you had that air seal between the garage, the house, and you know, get rid of having to worry about fumes coming in from the garage to the house or vice versa, whatever. That's fine, but you can't spray foam to a girt. So we would have had to have sheathed this. Well, if we're gonna go ahead and sheathe it, then we're gonna use the sheathing as our air barrier. And what we're gonna do is use weather logic. So the same stuff that we use on the outside to protect our home from all the elements, the air, water, whatever, we're gonna use it right here. And we're gonna tape seal those joints, and that's gonna give our home a perfect seal between the garage and the residential side. That's what we're doing today. We're going through, getting all of our details done, our blocking, everything necessary, and then we're gonna go ahead and sheathe it. Okay, so good thing, we've already got this wall framed and we shot it on with a laser. Therefore, I'm gonna go ahead and start on this wall and I'm gonna work out to my corners. However, when I think about my uses of material, no matter what, I'm gonna start with a full probably, and I'll end up cutting a foot off, Greg, which will give me a 1 foot rip up top.
What did we plan? Remember talking about that?
Vaguely. Hey, you wanna help me get this first one started? Because I can't feel and see and hold at the same time. Keep it tight to that stud.
Okay, let me come around to the other side then.
All right, pretty good.
I think so. You got it?
Yeah. Once I get that first one started, I can do it. You know what would have been nice, Greg, if I had 9 foot sheets, man.
Yeah.
Greg, imagine if you would have grabbed the 8 foot track, you'd be still ripping and you'd be done, man.
Maybe.
Hey, look at that. Gave the HVAC guy a hoodie. What up, Don?
What up, brother?
Fits good, looks good.
Look at that. Yeah. You never compliment me when I wear a hoodie. You're like, oh, there's Greg. Just Greg.
You're more than just Greg to me.
Whatever, dude.
You know, I've never been much of a flannel guy, but whenever I see myself in my flannels,
Yeah.
I think, dang, it's actually a good look on you, Kyle. Like, I know what I'm doing, you know? Not to mention, these are True Works, and they're pretty nice. Man, this nail gun almost blew the goggles off my hat. Maybe I just put them on.
Not a bad idea.
Oh, I just put my glasses on,
Your eye?
and I got something in my eye. So you can see here we've got our truss, and that is defining the roof line against the building where the garage attaches to the house. And we didn't need to use a truss. We could have just hand framed this wall because it would have probably been sufficient. However, it's nice because it gives us the exact same dimensions as the rest of our trusses, both top and bottom cord. Now we'll have to sheathe this with the same material here to get a barrier between the upstairs residence and the garage. That is where it would have been nice to not have the truss, because we could have just kept running sheets up all the way on the gable, but no big deal. We'll go ahead and run them flush with the bottom of this truss, and then our ceiling will just tie in right underneath of it. So because we're installing the sheathing on the face of this truss here that doesn't have girts every 2 foot, it doesn't really matter for structure, but we're doing it for, you know, just to block off this space. And so I'm just adding some blocks on the perimeter so we can get a good tight fit, a good connection. Oh, this is gonna be hard, Greg. This is gonna be a tough one.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. What's that?
Well, because I really could have done it without you. God forbid you stand on a top rung of a ladder. Yep. You know, because I appreciate when somebody cares more about my safety than I care about my own life, you know? You know what? The ladder wasn't all that bad. In fact, I'd venture to say that it didn't take us any longer, if nothing quicker, than the other side, wouldn't you? So now that we have all this weather logic up, pretty cool because this is going to give us our air barrier. We don't have to worry about anything coming in from the garage to the house. But we do still have all these gaps, and we're just going to do exactly what we did on the outside, use the weather logic tape. We'll seal it off, and then this will be like a completely sealed wall, just like an outside wall, to separate the garage from the living space. Nice thing is we don't have to worry about any water. We shouldn't. So we don't have to worry as much about the shingling effect of your tape. We're just running all the seams and just covering it up. What's that? On this size of a building? Well, there we go. We just got this wall done. It's a good project for the day. It just started raining. It's been super windy, extremely muddy and miserable outside. So I was thankful to have this little project that we needed to do on the interior. But we're running out of these inside jobs, and we're going to go back to hopefully working outside tomorrow, getting the porch columns, brackets set, the porch post cut to size, those mounted, and start the porch framing. So I got trusses ordered. I need to get my steel ordered for the roof, for the ceiling. There's a ton of stuff that's coming, and I think we're now to the point where you're really gonna see, I think, the beauty of this building, the things that are really gonna tie it together and make it look like a home, not just a big warehouse that a lot of you have referenced in the comments at the start of this. Like, you know, why are you building a house to look like a warehouse? Well, it's not going to. It is going to be awesome. And not for everybody. I get it. Not everybody wants to live in a house that looks like this. However, I think there's a lot of you that when this is done will see this as a great benefit in case you're thinking about building a home in the future. You want it to be efficient. You want it to be cost effective. You want a lot of square footage. There's a ton of benefits. So make sure you're sticking through to the end of this one. Give Greg a thumbs up for all his hard work today. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace. Hey guys, so while we're doing work around the job site, you know, doing different tasks, we have had our plumber and HVAC. This is Joey. Joey, you were actually in an earlier episode. You were doing all the underground. Yeah. And now he's back and he's doing all the rough plumbing, obviously taking it to the bathrooms, kitchens, doing all that sort of stuff. And he's got a trick that he wants to show us here. And he doesn't know if it's going to work because he's never done 5 pipes at once. But what he's got is he's got his 5, what is this, 3/4?
4 3/4 and 1/2.
Okay, packs. And how big is that tube down there?
3 inch.
3 inch. So what he's got is a pop bottle. It's a Mountain Dew bottle around those pipes. And what's the reason for that?
So I know I have a fitting down there to be able to make the bend into the mechanical room. And if I didn't have the smooth edge of the pop bottle on there, it would probably catch on the ends of the pipe inside of the fitting. So hopefully now with that smooth edge, it'll jump right.
So is this coming up over there in the mechanical room?
Yep.
All right, dude, I'll go see if it comes up. This is one of those, you know, one of these tricks that you learn in the field. I think he's coming up right here. Oh, I hear it. I don't see nothing yet, Joey, but I hear it. It's like watching paint dry. Oh, I see it. No kidding. Look at that. simple trick, something they don't teach you in school. Well, I don't know, maybe if your teacher's really cool, they'll teach you that sort of stuff, but there you go. Thanks, Joey. How else is all the plumbing going, man?
Good. DWV's done.
Wait, what's DWV for the listeners?
Drain, waste, and vent.
Oh, I knew that, but I just wanted to let everybody else know. So what Joey's referring to is all the drain pipes, the waste pipes that go out to the septic, and then also the pipes that go up to the attic and go out the roof for the venting. Without the venting, what happens if you don't have the proper venting, Joey, besides not passing your code or your inspection?
Your house could stink, and then the easiest way to explain it is turning the pop bottle upside down. You know how it gloves and barely comes out.
Yeah, or like you know what the worst? I think the best explanation would be is those freaking gas cans.
Right.
When you try to fill up your car with a gas can or pop bottle and it just goes blip 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 blip, right? All right, I better leave Joey back to work. He's working hard out there, and Greg is wrapping up all the.
Are you over there learning how to lay pipe without me?
Yeah,
Again?
yeah. Joey the plumber. You can find him on Instagram, Joey the plumber 33. And he's teaching all the people out there that want to learn how to lay pipe like Greg, how to do it more professionally and to do it, you know, to meet code. You got to do it the right way, Greg. Anybody can lay pipe, but to lay it right, that's the golden ticket.
I'm never gonna learn if you never tell me that you're gonna do it.
Some things you learn in school, other things you learn out on the job site.